Hello and welcome to a Not So Awesome Review. Today we're going to be talking about Batman Damned by Brian Azzarello and Lee. I can't pronounce his last name, Bergimo. Want to say something around there? And I'm saying look at instead of review for a very specific reason, which I bet a good amount of you already know. There's a little bit of a thing going on with this comic book that's been fixed, kind of, more or less. It's been addressed in the last couple of days since this comic came out. I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a second, and it is going to be a little bit of a review. I am going to talk about the book, but there's this one thing, no pun intended, that kind of distracts from the whole entireness of this comic book, and it's like, wow, DC, just what were you thinking? Anyways, Batman Damned is the first official kind of comic book in the DC Black Label genre, the Black Label series, if you were. These are supposed to be for more mature audiences, which is interesting because I don't know. I just mature audiences, more mature stories. I mean, DC's already, I wouldn't say dark, but I mean things happen, like things brutally happen. Now, if you're going to go like say it's really graphic, as in okay, it's a lot of gore and all that kind of stuff, I still feel like that happens plenty in DC comic books, but I can see where they're going with. They want to entice readers with like a more mature audience, I suppose. So yeah, that it's an interesting concept, but the way they went about it with this specific issue, and I feel like I don't know if this is DC's fault, if this is the writer and the artist's fault. I feel like it's everybody's fault combined. Man. So get the first part out of the way. The book is presented in a pseudo prestige paperback format. It's not so much a prestige book because it is bigger. It's a little bit it's different than your regular prestige comic book that you would expect, but it's not quite a paperback either. It's not as big. It's essentially the same size as a regular comic book, minus the ads, and maybe replace the pages with the ads with actual pages for the comic book itself, and make the paper quality just a little bit better. Not too much. It's not super nice, super, it's not paperback quality, but it's not regular comic book single issue quality either. It's actually not bad. The binding on it is pretty good. The presentation on it is good. The cover feels nice. There's actually two covers for this book, the one I have here and a different version of it. I'm not actually sure which one's the variant though. So the premise of the story, and I'm going to say spoiler alert even though it's not a spoiler, but in case somebody gets mad, I'm saying spoiler alert. The whole premise of the story is that Joker is dead, and the reason I'm saying it's not a spoiler, it says it in the back of the book. It says it in the synopsis of the book. It's there. It happened. Okay, moving on. So the Joker is dead, and Batman has no idea how he died. He's actually, when the book starts, Batman is basically waking up. He has a stab wound. He has no idea what's going on. He's actually in the care of a few GCPD officers, and the second they try to go for his mask, he freaks out, gets away, and is trying to find help with Alfred. We're getting, the entire time this is happening, a narration, which I feel like from the get-go it's not Batman, and there is another character in this, which, again, spoiler alert, I guess. You kind of know he's in there. It's in the synopsis, again, but for those of you, spoiler alert, I'm just saying. John Constantine is the narrator, and it is so not a good narration. No, it's not the accent or anything like that. It's just, I was not liking the narration at all. It was like a story being told to you, which is fine. It wasn't horrible, but I don't know, something about it didn't grab me. It didn't make me want to read the narration. It just made me want to see, okay, what's going on. I feel like I would rather watch the panels, read the dialogue, than get this narration from Constantine, which it does help advance the story a little bit, but at the same time it feels a little too much. Like, it didn't need it. It didn't need this kind of explanation from Constantine the whole entire issue all the way through to the end. Now, like I said, we have Batman, we have Constantine, and we have the Joker dead, and that's pretty much where the story goes off. Batman does not know how the Joker died. He knows where the Joker died. He finds that information out, and he knows that he was there earlier that night, but his memory's fuzzy. He doesn't know what's going on. Constantine basically does some stuff with Batman. Batman kind of freaks out, and it goes from there up until the end. And it was alright. The story, it felt, I wouldn't say all over the place, but there was a lot of things going on where it just, it goes from location to location to location so fast that it can seem a little confusing. It's not easy to grasp. It's not impossible, but it is just a lot happening, so I figured I would throw that in there because You know, one second he's in one place, the next second he's waking up over here, and the next he's going after this person, and then he's back over here at the Batcave, and then he's back over here, but then he's actually at the manor. He wasn't actually there. Was he there? Did he go there? I don't know what happened. It's a lot of stuff. But like I said, it's not bad. I like the premise of the idea of the story, and I am interested to see where it's going. And I will be picking up the next issue despite the major thing that we're going to talk about in a second. But let's talk about art, because the art in it, as you would expect, is amazing. This artist never lets down. If you guys read Joker, you'll know that it's really good. I'm talking about the standard standalone graphic novel Joker. It was a really good one. Really liked it. Very different because it was like Mob Boss Joker, but same artist, same team basically working on this. And I don't know, just it's really gritty. It's almost got like a 3D-ish effect when they do these like different blurs and different things like that. It's hard to explain. Hopefully I have some things going up on the screen so you guys can get a little taste of the art. It's good. I like it. Batman is wearing his Noel suit. I believe that's what it's considered called because it was in Batman Noel. So he is wearing kind of the suit that he wears in this writer's anyway version of Batman, which is cool to see. I like it when a writer kind of keeps their own Batman-esque universe, kind of like Frank Miller and his Batman. Even though people don't agree with me, he has said in the past that yes, all his work is in the same universe, even if it makes no sense because of Batman All-Star being kind of in the present time and Dark Knight Returns being in like Cold War-ish times. So yeah, continuity issues there, but you guys hopefully know what I mean by that. Anyways, moving on to the big issue, the major issue of the thing, the the controversialness of this issue is the fact that for whatever reason, okay, let me put it this way, it says mature audiences. From what I read, honestly, there was nothing in it, reading wise, that would make me think, oh yeah, this is definitely for mature readers. Kids should not be reading this. Now, I'm not saying kids shouldn't be reading. I mean, kids definitely shouldn't be reading this version of the book. But even so, like, a kid shouldn't probably be reading this Batman story either, just because it is a little bit graphic, especially near the end. But again, it's not something we haven't seen in the regular mainstream Batman issues, just maybe drawn a little bit more grittier and stuff. The main thing here is that I don't even know how to put this. I don't even know how to say this, but somebody and this is the craziest part, because obviously the writer, the artist, the editor, is there an inker? Is there a separate inker? Is there a separate colorist? I don't know if the artist does all the work on this one or not, but so many people approve this that I'm not going to show it. I don't want to get demonetized, but there are not one, not two, but 3 panels where you can see Batman's junk. Now, you don't see all of it. You don't see, like, a high detailed picture. It's more of a silhouette thing. But I'm going to tell you right now, when I got to that page and it was just right there, and it was like, what is going on? What in the world is going on? And it's not just like one page. It's like, okay, it's there on the main page on like this big thing. It's there on another panel on the same page. And then on, I believe, the next page, it's still right there. And it is so unnecessary. And actually, what I was talking about is that it has been addressed, as DC already knows about it. They put out a statement saying, you know what, it doesn't advance the story, so they are censoring out of any second print run they do on this. It's censored out of the digital version. It's been censored out of, and I just can't understand why they would let that happen, aside from them wanting publicity for the comic book, which I feel like, I don't know, it's like a smart strategy, but at the same time, I feel like, why would you even do this in the first place? Why was it there? Now, I'll say this, the scene where Batman is actually naked, it kind of makes sense, and I'm going to get into some actual spoilers here, so for those of you who don't want to get spoiled, you know, this is your warning, but essentially, when Batman wakes up with Constantine, his stab wound is gone, and he doesn't understand why. He goes back to the Batcave, he has the computer analyze him, it doesn't find anything wrong with him, and he freaks out about it, so he takes off his suit as he's walking and checking himself and asking the computer these questions, and it's like, yeah, okay, nothing happened to you. And that's all fine and dandy. Even like the butt shot, okay, fine, that's been done in comic books before. It's I'm not saying it's unnecessary, mature audiences, whatever, but the fact is that you guys, it's a highlighted thing of his junk. Like, you can see, you can make it out. You know what it is. It is unmistakable what you are looking at. And the fact that it is mostly blacked out makes it, in my opinion, so much worse because there was absolutely no need. The rest of his area down there is blacked out, so you can't see it, but you can see the silhouette of it, and it's like, why? Why would you do that? Now, I'm not a kind of person who's like, oh, no nudity in shows, no nudity in movies, ever. I really, honestly don't care. I really don't. I do feel like if you're going to put it in a movie or a show, it should advance the plot in some way. The best explanation here is Game of Thrones nudity, especially in the earlier seasons, that when you first see a few characters, okay, look, naked girls everywhere. And it's like, okay, I get it, it's a brothel, but at the same time, did it really need to happen? No, it wasn't advancing the plot. Yes, we know it's a brothel, but we don't need to see all of that, you know? I don't care. Honestly, I don't, but I'm just, as an explanation, you don't need to see all of that to advance your story. Now go into the last episode of that season with Daenerys, after the fire and everything. Okay, she's naked because, well, fire and all that stuff, and the clothes burned away, standing up, all the dragons around there. Okay, I'm fine with that because it makes sense for the plot that her clothes would burn away. You're showing that she is unburned. That is nudity for the plot that advances the plot, even if it is. But when it's like this with Batman, where there was no need for it, the rest of it was already blacked out. Why? Just why would you do that? Now, the only good thing about it is that the comic book, first print of this, has gone up in value to about $40 on eBay. So I'm okay with that. That I'm fine with. But everything else, it's just like, why DC? Why? I am like, mature audiences does not necessarily mean the mature audiences does not necessarily mean I want to see Batman's junk. It means to me anyway, hey, we have more mature themes, maybe like intense drug use, maybe some controversial stuff with the police or something, not nudity that is unnecessary because it doesn't advance the plot. And you can argue that you don't care, it's art, it is what it is, but DC cared enough to say the same thing, that, you know what, it didn't advance the plot, let's move on. How would nudity advance the plot? I don't know. I can think of a few examples that I just... obviously a sex scene, which again, it doesn't really need to be there, especially in a comic book, but if they wanted to throw it in, I guess they could, but again, at the same time, there's only so much you need to see to kind of understand what's going on there, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's kind of my rant on that. Batman Damned, okay comic book. It's actually not that amazing. I do want to keep on it. I do want to read the rest of it and see where the story goes. But as a story standpoint, not that not that amazing. Art-wise, still very good. I actually really love the art. I guess my best thing to say here is, if you don't want to see Batman's junk, either buy the digital version or wait for the second print. Even assuming you can still find the first print in stores, because obviously DC is kind of like, yeah, we're getting rid of that, so it's technically become a kind of limited edition first print run, which again is cool. It's a thing that I never wanted to see, but yeah, it's cool. Okay, that's pretty much my review for Batman Damned. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all later. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.